Hello, beautiful people. Today is 18th of August. My name is Sahil, and welcome to Newspaper Analysis. Friends, today into the GS folder, we will take an excerpt from the writings of the Klaus Schwab. Now, Klaus Schwab is the founder and the executive director of the World Economic Forum. And he says that the more we think about how to harness the technology revolution, the more we will examine ourselves and the underlying social models that these technologies embody and enable. And the more we will have an opportunity to shape the revolution in a manner that improves the state of the world. Now, guys, it means that as the new technologies are coming, they are also opening the new conflict areas. And when these new conflict areas are being opened up, we are brainstorming that how these conflict areas can also be resolved. So, in a way, all the underlying social structures, social models are being thought about. For example, as the internet came, with the internet, the talk about the privacy came, and now the privacy is at the center stage of all the debates. Never the conscience onto the privacy was so strong than it is today. Now, guys, as the internet fourth industrial revolution is coming, we are talking about the digital rights. Now this is also a new thing which has came. Never people even thought about these particular type of right. Further, as the notion of renewable energy is coming, now the concept of the energy poverty has been developed, and even the economic survey has mentioned the concept of the energy poverty. Earlier these concepts were alien and were never thought. So as we are focusing onto the technology harnessing, underlying social models, social problems are also being reignited. Now that is the matter of ethics, whether some genuine solution for these things will come or not, but a consciousness has been developed and that we can't deny. So guys, into the essay, such kind of observations are really appreciated and can help you to score marks above average. So please use it into essay as well as into the questions of to the GS paper number 3, inclusive growth. So guys, that's it, and now let's take the newspaper analysis. Now guys, first of all, let's take the overview of the entire newspaper. Guys, thanks a lot for your support and the love that you have shown to our videos. Now the first news here we can see is with respect to the Supreme Court's study, where they will declare that in what cases the conduct of the judges can be questioned. So we'll see this thing. Then guys, this particular article talks about the Facebook India's public policy officer who has been arrested. Now in this particular direction we will see a bigger issue, the role of social media into the maintaining of the social harmony. Guys, moving forward, then the same thing has been continued here with respect to the Facebook, so we will be clubbing it with this. Then moving forward, here the NGT and Ganga rejuvenation issue has been mentioned. So from the very scratch we will see all the things which have been associated with this. Then guys, the new nothing important here. Then coming to the editorial page. Now this particular editorial talks about the federal dispute between the Delhi and UT of Delhi. Now guys, for the prelims point of view, for the mains point of view, all the issues here with respect to this, we will see this thing. Then guys, this particular article talks about the saliva test which has been given by the approval by the FDA. So yesterday only all the such issues we have already taken up. Now guys, this particular article talks about the Jammu and Kashmir issue. Now on to the eve of 1 year of the J&K status change, we have seen 7-8 articles into these 3 days. So all the issues we had done already, it is nothing but the repetition of the same things. Then guys, this particular article talks about the retirement of Mahendra Singh Dhoni, not important for our exam. Then guys, with respect to the contempt, certain of the judgments have been taken up. I will club it with the judiciary article. Then guys, this particular article, it is written by the opposition party of the Kerala, and they are alleging that how the ruling government has failed. Guys, it is a politically inclined and a very journalistic article. Then it talks about the politics in Bihar, the issue between the LGP, JDU, Congress, etc. Not important. Then guys, moving forward. So you can see that almost the news with respect to non-importance of UPSC has been given. Guys, moving forward. Then here we can see that reimagining of Indian economy has been mentioned. So this is a ready-made answer with respect to our economy. We will see 13 prescriptions as how to revive the economy. Then guys, moving forward, here you can see the problem of the digital disconnect in India. So what happened into the Haryana? The ASHA workers have been given the 4G SIM, but the problem is that they don't have the devices, and even their earlier numbers have been blocked. So just as an example of digital divide, you can mention this thing. Then guys, showcase page, not important for our exam, not important. Then onto the world's page, the protest and all such kind of things are going on, and onto the business page also, the corporate news etc has been mentioned. So guys, that's it, and now let's take the newspaper analysis in detail. Now, friends, starting up. So, this article talks about the contempt issue that is going on. Now, the Supreme Court has said that we will study the context as when the charges of corruption against the judges can be levied. So, guys, we'll see this particular development. Now, on to the same subject, there are articles throughout the paper. For example, this big article is from the op-ed page where the same issue has been talked. Then there are the continuation onto the page number 8 as well as page number 9. So guys, what we will do, we will club though all of them and we'll see a holistic picture. Now first of all, if you are here for the first time or if you don't know anything about the contempt issue, then guys, on 27 July at this particular timestamp, from the very scratch we had seen this entire issue. Then yesterday at this particular timestamp also I had given you some value addition into this particular thing. So guys, you can refer it if there is any problem. Now starting up. Now just for a follow up, guys, 4 days back Supreme Court gave its verdict with respect to the contempt of court proceeding that is going against the Prashant Bhushan, and Supreme Court had found him guilty. And now under the Article 129 of Indian Constitution and under Contempt of Court Act 1971 Section 2C, now Supreme Court said that he need to serve the punishment, and for that particular thing the verdict will be coming on to the 20th of August. Now guys, as this thing has happened, there is a huge backlash which is going on into against the Supreme Court, and even yesterday we had seen the articles. Everybody is saying that the Supreme Court is unfair into this particular direction, and even the charges are coming that it is clear violation of article number 19. Now, what if such question comes? So, guys, there are two counters. I will give you both. First of all, under the O.P. Gupta judgment 1971, Supreme Court said that contempt of court is a reasonable restriction, and under Article number 19 or itself has been said that freedom of speech and expression are subject to the reasonable restriction. So, if sometime contempt is slapped, you can't give this particular argument. However, guys, another counter on this particular thing. In 1968, Lord Denning, a British jurist, has said very clearly that when two things are in conflict, that is the contempt of court and freedom of speech and expression, the judiciary should give paramountcy to the speech and expression until and unless it is something very grave. So, guys, because of this particular thing, you can counter this particular stand. And now, guys, moving forward, so as the controversy has been unfolded so much, now the Supreme Court had said that okay, we will now define the circumstances where a person can make the allegations of the judicial corruption and when it will not be treated as the contempt of court. We will define the entire procedure. Moreover, it has also been said that it will also be defined that when such matter is being subjudiced, how much media can give it coverage, how much it can be argued in other media platforms, etc, so that such kind of problem doesn't comes into the future. Now guys, what is the problem right now? Right now problem is that there is a judgment of Supreme Court of 1992 where the Justice J.S. Verma had said that whenever the charge of corruption against the judiciary is levied, it can reduce the integrity of the entire institution. Therefore, it was said that under such allegations, a committee needs to be formed, and under the Judges Enquiry Act 1968, the charges of corruption needs to be heard, but all this process needs to be into the closed door. Only the high functionaries of judiciary and some high standing parliamentarians needs to be there. Such allegations of corruption hearing was not needed to be made public. And guys, therefore now Supreme Court had said that we will tell the circumstances when it can be made public, what will be the procedure. So this is the entire thing. Now some additional points. See, in all this contempt of court issue, there are two group of people. One say that contempt of court should be there, others say that it should not be there. Guys, there could be certain arguments. I will give you them. Now the ones who favor them. So number one is the 274th report of the Law Commission, which was headed by Justice B.S. Chauhan. And here it was said that the contempt of court is relevant because if we talk about the data, then there are more than 580 criminal contempt charges and more than 96,900 civil contempt charges which are pending across the High Court as well as Supreme Court. So as there are so many cases, it means that this particular thing is relevant. Moreover, guys, it has also been said that the power of contempt is derived under the article number 129. So contempt of court act should be kept. Then the third argument is there that there are enough safeguards into the contempt of court act which provides that there should be no misuse. So guys, there is actually no need to remove it. For example, under the section number 13, defense of truth has been mentioned. It has been said that if anything is true, for that particular thing contempt charges cannot be made. But the counter question comes that how actually it will be ascertained whether it is true or not. For example, in 2009, an allegation was made by Prashant Bhushan only against the Supreme Court that the corruption is prevailing into the judiciary. Now, actually, what is the definition of the corruption? Corruption is not only financial corruption. It could be the abuse of power, discretion, nepotism, favoritism. So much is wide definition. So how we can ascertain whether it is true or not? So guys, this is one counter argument. Then other counter argument is that the criminal contempt has already been removed into the UK from where we had inspired it. So when UK has removed it, why we are keeping it? But before going forward, there is one counter argument for this thing also. Number one, it has been said that though UK has removed the criminal contempt, but still there are various other laws where UK has the power that it can punish if there is the scandalization of the court. Secondly, it has been said that in UK, the last offense of the scandalization of court was in 1931. But in India, even today, you can see that so many criminal contempt charges are pending. So conditions are different here. Thirdly, the cultural and political ethos of UK and India are completely different. We can't make the comparison between the two. So that is a counter argument. However, coming back again to our track. Now, the third argument is that into the S. Mugolkar case 1978, Supreme Court itself said that judiciary is not immune from the fair criticism. And guys, when if it is not immune from the fair criticism, why we are keeping the contempt of court act? Moreover, guys, into the Mugolkar case, it was also said that only into the extreme condition it could be there, but still the spirit says that there is no reason in levying it. And then the fourth argument is that the criticism is only a way to bring more reform, and by keeping away the criticism, the judiciary is keeping away the reform. So these are the arguments. Guys, there could be a direct question. A very big probability is there. So please keep all these things, these points into your mind. So that's it, friends. And now we'll move to next. Now, friends, here we will see the role of the social media into the politics and maintaining the social harmony. So, a few days back, there was an article into the Wall Street Journal, and there an allegation has been made that Facebook is selectively enforcing the hate speech policy. And it has been said that the social media giant has come in collusion with the political parties where it allow the hate speeches even when they are causing the social damage just to promote its business into the country. Now guys, see, into the past 2-3 years there have been considerable backlash with respect to the role of social media in the society. Now, for the reference, just 3 years back, there was the Cambridge Analytica issue which held, and there it was said that it harvested the information from the Facebook with respect to the preferences and taste of the individual, and onto the basis of that information, Cambridge Analytica made a psychological profile of the voters and showed them the selective content, and in a way it influenced the American elections. And now it has been said that Facebook is having a political collusion with the dominant political parties and allowing the hate speeches, and it is disturbing the fabric. Even when the matter has been flagged, Facebook has not taken any action on that particular thing. Now we don't need to go as who said what, but the issue is that even if a grain of a thing is true here, then the social media needs to be regulated as urgently as possible, and it is a high time that some elaborative and some comprehensive legislative framework, ethical frameworks are needed to be installed for the social media giants. Now, here into this particular article, the Peace and Harmony Committee of Delhi has been mentioned. Now, because of this particular matter, the committee has summoned the top Facebook officials and have asked that they should explain that why such a thing is coming. So, guys, as a way forward, along with these points, such as the law enforcement, ethical framework enforcement, you can also provide that the Peace and Harmony Committee in all the districts should be established so that such kind of tendencies can be checked out. Moreover, guys, even more important than this, the consciousness into the society needs to be ignited that many a times such kind of fake news, hate speeches might be coming from the social media, but people need to be proactive and they don't need to get influenced by that particular thing. So guys, just as a reference, please keep this particular thing into your mind. You can use it as a value addition point in GS3 or GS1. So that's it. Now we'll move to next. Now, guys, here the matter of Ganga rejuvenation or the Ganga pollution has been mentioned. So, National Green Tribunal has directed the states that they need to monitor that there is no flow of pollutants into the Ganga, as well as Ganga rejuvenation also needs to be taken care of. Now, guys, with respect to the pollution into the rivers, there could be the non-point source pollutions which are not easy to be traced, but there are the point source pollutions which could be traced easily. For example, the industrial waste which is flowing directly into the Ganga is the point source pollution. However, littering into the Ganga, throwing of the waste into the Ganga, washing of clothes into the Ganga, these are the non-point source pollutions and they are not easy to be cracked. However, this could be done, but still it has not been done by the states from where the Ganga is passing. And in this particular direction, these all states have been directed. Now, guys, it has been said by the NGT that there have been 34 years as a Supreme Court is monitoring the Ganga river health, and 46 years have been passed after the passing of the Water Act 1974, and under them it has been said that polluting the Ganga's sewage disposal into the Ganga is an offense, but still it is going on. Further, it has also been said that Article number 21 provides the right to pollution free environment as a fundamental right, but still the state governments have failed to contain this particular thing, and it has been said that it is a failure of the constitutional duty. So guys, with respect to the water pollution, such a reference you could give. Now guys, moving forward, see, whenever you are talking about the Ganga health or the river health, always keep these 4 points and write them. You will be getting good marks. So we need to maintain the Aviral Dhara, that is continuous Dhara, Nirmal Dhara, that is pollution free river, geological entity. Every river needs to be preserved as a separate entity, and ecological entity, its environmental role is needed to be also needed to be taken care of. Now guys, with respect to the Ganga rejuvenation, the Ministry of Jal Shakti is coordinating the actions. And when we talk about the Ganga cleaning, then the actions could be traced as back as 1986 when the Ganga Action Plan was launched. After that, the National Ganga River Basin Authority was established under the Environment Protection Act 1980 in 2009. Now, guys, there is the implementing agency of the National Ganga River Basin Authority, that is the National Mission for Clean Ganga. Basically, it is a society registered under the Societies Registration Act 1860, and it is an implementation wing for the NGRBA. Now NGRBA is the chairman is the Prime Minister, and Chief Minister of all the states are there who participate into this particular authority. After that, one more step was taken, that was the Namami Gange program, which was taken in 2014, and it aims to make an integrated plan to solve all the problems associated with the Ganga, such as maintaining the river health, closing of the entities which are polluting the Ganga, then solid water waste management, sewage waste management, all these things are taken under this particular program. And now friends, in 2021 the phase number 1 of Namami Ganga program will end, and after that till 2026 the phase 2 will begin. And for phase 2, World Bank had given a new set of funding which will help to clean the Ganga. Earlier also the World Bank has given funding for the cleaning of Ganga. So guys, this is the entire holistic picture with respect to the Ganga. Could be important for prelims as well as mains. So that's it. Now we'll move to next. Now guys, we are into the editorial section, and this first editorial talks about the federal conflict that is going on between the Delhi government and the union government. Now first of all, question on such line has already been asked into the UPSC mains exam, so please pay attention to this entire issue. Now guys, into the constitutional scheme of India, there are the state, then there are the union territories, and then there is the union government. Now, though our federalism is in favor of the union, it is biased into the favor of the union, but still the federalism, wherever constitutionally it has been mandated, it needs to be followed. Now guys, when we talk about the union territories, then for them there is majorly the unitary system which is followed, but there are certain union territories which have been given the special statuses, and a kind of a semi-federalism has been guaranteed to some of the union territories. So today we are talking about the union territory of Delhi, which has been whose status has been changed by the 69th Constitutional Amendment Act, and it has been converted into the National Capital Territory, and a kind of a semi-federalism or a federalism has also been installed here. But over and over period of time, union government doesn't follows that federalism. First of all, talking about certain basics. First of all, Article 239AA and Article 239AB are majorly the ones which deal with the affairs of the Union Territory of Delhi. So guys, according to the 69th Constitutional Amendment Act, NCT of Delhi will be having a lieutenant governor who will be the nominal head, and then there will be a legislative assembly of 70 members, and there will be a chief minister and the council of minister. Now guys, these chief minister and council of minister, first of all, they will be appointed by the president and not by the lieutenant governor. Keep this thing into your mind. Now see, they are the real head, and they have all the powers for the NCT of Delhi for the subjects mentioned into the state list as well as a concurrent list. However, they can't have or they can't make the law onto the public order, police and land. However, guys, into the case of NCT, Parliament also has the power to make the law onto the state list as well as concurrent list for the Delhi. And at the same time, for these subject, for the Delhi, only Parliament has the power. So we can see that the federalism has been given, but limited federalism has been given. Now, further talking about the role of the lieutenant governor. So it has been said that the chief minister needs to give advice to the LG, and LG has to act on to the aid and advice of the CM and council of minister. However, there could be certain circumstances where LG can act on his own discretion. Moreover, if there is a difference of opinion, then LG can refer the matter to the president. Now guys, this discretion of LG and referring the matter to the president is a bone of contention, because in this way the union government is being given a backdoor entry into the affairs of the Delhi. And the same thing happened in 2018 also, where it was alleged that extensively LG is interfering into the domain of the CM and council of minister, and in that particular direction a case was also filed into the Supreme Court, that is the Government of NCT of Delhi versus Union of India case. Here Supreme Court said that the LG and the CM, they have their separate domains and they need to work into the harmonious relationship. Here guys, it was also said that the LG is bound to act onto the aid and advice of the chief minister and the council of minister. It was clearly made realized by the Supreme Court that the special power has been, special status has been given to the NCT, and that special official status should be represented every time. LG should not interfere, and therefore the concepts such as the constitutional morality, cooperative federalism, constitutional conscience, pragmatic federalism, all these things were talked in by the Supreme Court. However, still there are certain catches, and by using them, the Supreme Court's direction is not being honored, and still LG is interfering into the affairs. Now, guys, first of all, here it has been said that Article number 239AA subclause 4 provides a situation that whenever there is a difference of opinion between the LG and the CM, then the LG can refer the matter to the president and can act as per his direction. And the second is that if there is a condition when the urgent matter is to be decided, that LG can decide on its own discretion. So, in a nutshell, the Supreme Court's reminder will not serve any purpose, and because of these provisions, anyhow, the union government's discretion will be given a space into the affairs of the Delhi. And here, the example has been given for the riots case which is going on. So, into for the investigation of the riots, the High Court and Supreme Court has asked the Delhi government that they need to appoint some prosecutors. And when the matter of the prosecutor was raised, again a conflict emerged between the LG and the CM. And guys, what the LG did by the application of the Article 239AA subclause 4, it referred matter to the president. And now a question is coming, that is it the constitutional morality which was talked by the Supreme Court? Is it the cooperative federalism constitutional conscience being followed here or not? Because clearly Article 239AA4 is there, but it refers urgent matters, not the every matter. And this is something, a kind of a administrative detail. And therefore, if every matter will be referred, then there is no purpose of having the CM and COM. Moreover, guys, apart from this, Supreme Court has given a clear direction that see, where the parliament only has the legislative power, the executive power will also be of the parliament. So, into the subject of the public order, land and police, only parliament has the power to legislate. So, executive power will also be its. But into the other subjects where the legislative power is with the Delhi government, the executive power will only be with them. And guys, as governor is referring the day-to-day affairs to the president, the executive power which needed to be with the Delhi government is also being undermined, and again it is an attack onto the pragmatic federalism constitutional conscience. So it has been said that the central government should mend their behavior, and LG should get realization about the constitutional role which it needs to follow, rather than submitting the government of Delhi to the whims and fancies of the central government. So guys, this is an opinion which has been given into this article, and now we'll move to next. Now friends, this particular article is a ready-made answer for GS paper number 3, the strategies for the economic recovery. In this particular article, 13 points have been given which could directly be utilized into your answers. Now guys, as the disruption by the COVID-19 has been caused, we need to solve crisis at two end. One is the health crisis and other is the economic crisis. And if economic crisis will be solved, the health crisis, we can tame it even more effectively. Now guys, because of the lockdown, there is huge disruption. Even government came out with the 20 lakh crore rupees economic package. But apart from this also, there are certain things which are needed to be done. So guys, here it has been said that government should utilize the four cylinders for the growth. And what are these big four cylinders? Now, first are the big business houses, as they are the major contributor of the GDP and generate one of the largest employments. Second is the support onto the MSME, as they generate the wealth for the middle class and they are also called as the lifeline of the country. Third, we need to focus onto the startups because they are the one which bring the innovation and transformation into the country's economic system. Thirdly, we need to focus onto the NRIs and the OCI card holders because these are the one who are the ambassadors of the India. They are living abroad. They are sending remittances, and therefore we also need to focus on them. Now, friends, one by one, we will see all the policy prescriptions which have been there. Number one, it has been said that the big business houses are needed to be supported by the way of giving them the tax incentives as well as giving them the support to procure the raw material at the credit. Because by this particular thing, they can start their production, and when they start their production, they will involve the employ the people. When people will get the employment, they will raise the demand, and as the demand will be raised in economy, the things will be good. Moreover, guys, when these raw materials will be procured from the MSME sector, they will also get a job creation opportunity. Secondly, it has been said that the RBI should focus on to the restructuring of the loans, because now there are so many people who have taken the loan, but as a moratorium is going to end, they will not be able to pay back. So there could be the high number of non-performing assets. So therefore, the loan restructuring needs to be focused on. Then the third has been said that the center should make a 5-year plan, and at least 60% of the companies who are relocating from China, they should be trapped into the India. Now, the preferable location for those country is Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, but we need to bring them in India. Then, guys, it has been said that apart from the manufacturing, we should also focus on to the trading, and India needs to be made a trading hub. For example, Hong Kong, Singapore, they are the big trading hubs. So India also needs to be plotted onto the trading map. After that, into the state governments, self-contained industrial cities are needed to be established. State government also should follow the competitive federalism, and in this particular capacity, they should have the dedicated spaces for the manufacturing, for commercial leasing, for the educational institutes, for residentialship, and for the social infrastructure. After that, guys, see, into the Make in India, we have identified the 25 sectors which will be identified, and the aim is to increase the share of manufacturing into our GDP by 25%. Now, out of this 25, 10 sectors have the great potential. For example, the electrical, pharmaceuticals, medical devices, automotive, mining, electronics, heavy engineering, renewable energy, food processing, chemical, textile, etc. And countries such as Japan, US, and South Korea have shown a considerable interest into them. So we need to leverage the low hanging fruits first before going into the other things. So the focus should be given onto these areas, and particularly pharmaceuticals are of the prominent interest because we are one of the largest generic drug manufacturer into the world. Then, guys, there is the case for certain sunrise sector, as they have huge potential for growth. And in this particular direction, the battery manufacturing, solar panel manufacturing, after that, the deep tech programs such as the blockchain, robotics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, augmented reality, big data analytics need to be leveraged, guys, because the coming time will be guided by two major forces. One is the renewable energies, and second is the fourth industrial revolution, and there all these things will be of particular interest. So therefore, India should be future ready with these things. Then, guys, we need to focus onto the startup ecosystem. Now, if I tell you, then according to a study conducted by the NASCOM, India has the third largest ecosystem into the world, and we are actually not focusing onto it. And when we talk about the potential of startups, they don't only bring the jobs, but they also bring the innovation. So what we need to do, we need to provide all type of funding to the startups, and in this particular direction, the angel funding needs to be made easily accessible. Then, guys, into the manufacturing, India has a very good experience with the automobile industry, and it is right now contributing significantly to our GDP, also around 9%. Therefore, the special treatments are needed to be given. For example, the GST rate on automobile needs to be reduced, and after that, the old vehicle scrapping policy needs to be focused so that the market for the new vehicles can be made. Then, guys, the next project, see, we need to anyhow attract the big ticket projects because they bring the FDI, they generate employment, and they also help into the tax base enhancement. So what we need to provide, we need to provide the plug and play model. Now they are the ones where the land acquisition, basic infrastructure, everything is ready madely provided to the investors. Now Maharashtra has provided such plug and play models for the foreign investors, and other states need to learn from the Maharashtra. And in this particular direction, the land acquisition, labor laws, environmental laws, etc., needs to be streamlined. As I was talking, competitive federalism needs to be brought. After that, we need reforms into the labor laws. Now it is not required that the all the hire and fire, all kind of dictatorship should be given over the laborers. Rather, laborers need to be brought into the discipline. That is what is required. And in this particular direction, UP, Gujarat, MP had done something good. So learning from them, other states should also work in bringing the laborers into the discipline. After that, next strategy, we need to focus on to the NRIs and the OCIs. Now guys, just because of an emotional touch, they want to invest into India, but the norms are differential. There is huge taxation which is levied onto the dividend that they earn if they invest into India. Now guys, in this particular direction, we need to learn from the China, because Chinese government has given enough of incentives to their Chinese nationals living outside so that they can invest in China. And in such direction, Indian government should also provide the economic benefits to the Indian NRIs as well as Indian diaspora. For example, the rate of taxation can be reduced at a sustainable level. Moreover, not only this, rather the tax exemption for a limited period can also be given, so that a kind of a loop of investment from the Indian diaspora can start up. Further, guys, see, onto the lines of Singapore, a kind of an offshore investment center can be opened up in Mumbai, where the Indian domestic laws will not be applicable. It will just be created, considered as a foreign territory. Now, this will help in the MNCs that they can route their investment into the India through the centers, which will be the liberalized centers in terms of the taxation and all such kind of laws. And particularly, Dubai is following this particular strategy, and they have been very successful. So guys, these are the prescriptions for the economy which could be followed, and any 5 6 points could serve as a standard answer into your GS paper number 3. So that's it, and now we'll move to the question section. Friends, please pause the video and try to answer the question. So question number 1 is with respect to the Sagar. Please read the statement and identify the correct code. Question number 2 is with respect to the National Digital Health Mission. Please read the statement and identify the incorrect code. Question number 3 is with respect to the National Cadet Corps. Please read the statement and identify the incorrect code. Now question number 4 is with respect to the Disaster Management Act. Please read the statement and identify the correct code. Now the mains question. So question says that the federal morality is an important constitutional ideal which needs affirmation in spirit as well as letter. Discuss in the light of case of N City of Delhi. So it will be a 10 marker question and will be an important part of the GS paper number 2. Please write on it. So guys, that's all for today. I hope you are liking it. Thank you so much.